So I'm Gribble, your host. I'm an independent hospitality marketing strategist. And for over 20 years, I've been partnering with the UK's and the Middle East's most loved hotels, restaurants, and food service businesses. Now, in today's presentation, we're going to be taking a look at digital marketing influences affecting hospitality. We're going to have a look at Google Eats guidelines and search engine marketing, the digital marketing mix, some restaurant marketing trends, hotel marketing trends. Then we'll have some key takeaways. And then after that, my special guest, Andrey Kolchurin, will be joining me to discuss diversity and talent acquisition and retention and how marketing can support that. So by the end of today's session, you should have some all-inclusive insights into what's shaping digital marketing in hospitality this year, with some practical advice for implementation. We'll finish with some key takeaways and a Q&A afterwards. Now, some of the core influences to be mindful of this year include sustainability values, personalised marketing trends, and experiential marketing. Now, according to research from Harvard Business School, products that are marketed as sustainable have experienced an average sales growth rate that is 5.6 times greater than their non-sustainable counterparts. Now, when it comes to travel, a Visa survey found that 76% of respondents will choose eco-travel options if available, and they're willing to pay over 20% more for environmentally friendly accommodation. However, some studies have found that the word sustainability is experiencing a loss of consumer trust. And this indicates that consumers are becoming increasingly skeptical of sustainability claims. So essentially, you've got to walk the talk. Sustainability claims, require careful messaging and strategic alignment with your brand growth strategy. So looking now at personalised marketing trends, so demand for personalisation is increasing. 73% of consumers expect companies to understand their unique needs and expectations, and 56% of all offers are expected to be personalised. Now, an Epsilon study shows that 80% of consumers are more likely to do business with a company when it offers personalised experiences. And 62% of consumers indicate that a brand will lose their loyalty if it fails to deliver a personalised experience. Now, using first and zero-party data, hotels and restaurants can help understand their guest preferences, also their behaviours and feedback, and you can use this to create hyper-personalised marketing campaigns. So this data can guide the customisation of promotional offers, loyalty programs, and tailored recommendations. This amplifies the overall guest experience and helps to drive repeat business. Now, experiential marketing does what it says on the tin. It's usually comprised of events alongside multimedia digital campaigns. And one way to determine what's going to work for you is with small-scale experiments. So you can use pop-ups to transform restaurants and event spaces into temporary immersive experiences. So this approach will allow you to explore new themes, menus and ideas. And essentially your goal is to provide a fresh and stimulating environment that keeps guests coming back and gets them talking about you online. So consider things like cooking demonstrations, tasting menus, mixology classes, having guest chefs on the premises, and also cultural performances. In terms of how to market these events, use countdown posts, Q&A sessions, polls, and competitions to drive engagement and online bookings. Use check-ins and airdrops during the event to connect with guests digitally and encourage them to share their experiences on social media. I've found from personal experience that if you use the event hashtag as the Wi-Fi password, then that really helps in encouraging people to use that hashtag and spread brand awareness. And then after the event, do encourage guests to remix your Instagram reels with their own experiences. So we're going to take a little look now at what's going on with the search engines. So we're going to have a look at EAT. Now, EAT is a set of Google guidelines that assesses the quality and credibility of websites. Now, the acronym stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Now, this was introduced to combat the spread of misinformation online and ensure that search results provide reliable and accurate information for users. Now, by following the EAT guidelines, hospitality websites can improve their visibility in search results and also build trust with their audience. So let's break that down. So experience in the context of Google EAT guidelines refers to the overall experience provided by a website. So it includes factors like ease of navigation, the page load speed, mobile friendliness, and the overall design and functionality of the site. When it comes to expertise, use videos, local guides, and customer testimonials. Highlight those real-world experiences and expertise within your organisation, as it can significantly boost the appeal and trustworthiness of your brand. So this could be things like showing off chef's knife skills, local knowledge, sharing insights from mixologists, your concierge team, spa professionals, and all of the wonderful people that add value to your business. Now, hotels and restaurants can establish their authoritativeness in the context of Google EAT guidelines by consistently publishing high-quality content which is related and supports their offers. So this would typically be blog posts, articles, expert opinions. So again, this is demonstrating knowledge and expertise. You'll find that all of these areas sort of blend into each other. And of course, one way to do this is by actively engaging with influencers in your industry and the media, and also encourage satisfied guests to leave positive reviews too. So that will help build your authority. Now, to establish trustworthiness, it's important to provide accurate and reliable information. So make sure that you cite credible sources and ensure transparency surrounding your business practices. Now, this can be done through clear and concise communication, disclosing sustainable initiatives and industry credentials. So, for example, fair trade, B Corp, your awards and accolades, as well as addressing customer concerns in a timely manner. Now, in addition to EAT, Google also released its helpful content update. And this is to promote content that demonstrates the item, everything that demonstrates content that meets the EAT guidelines. So it's there to provide quick user solutions quickly. So understandably, hotel and restaurant marketers who are using AI tools for content creation may have questions about the impact of this update on their digital strategies. And in fact, 85% of marketers do actually use AI to assist them in article writing. Now, the good news is that even though Google can detect AI content, it doesn't categorically penalize it. So this is, important reassurance for anyone that's using AI tools to assist them in content creation. So hotel and restaurant marketers can use AI-driven content creation to their advantage, provided that they do so ethically and strategically. Now, AI has already generated a ton of mediocre and, in some cases, some frankly absurd material that's out there. So I think, what we're really seeing from these large language models is that, they're great for brainstorming, helping build structure, but they're no match for human creativity and quality. Now, in 2024, one of the sort of key things to do in terms of search is to think outside of the search box. So search trends in 2024 will include things like voice search, AI search, and image search to find information. And So one travel influencer was hailed as a genius by Entrepreneur magazine. And that was simply for using reverse image search to identify a venue from Airbnb so that she could then go and book directly with that venue for a better rate. Now, to capitalise on the evolving search landscapes, hotels and restaurants and food service should really focus on maximising the potential of their Google business profiles and, optimise your website content and metadata for voice and image-based search. So this means, giving SEO names to file names and meta tags. And it's worth having a brainstorming session with your team to identify any customer queries in advance, because this can then help in your search content, your chatbots, and of course, train your customer facing staff. Now, Google is using a lot of AI, and it's integrating its generative AI system, Bard, across a suite of its apps and services. And this allows Bard to cater to specific travel requests. Now, Bard's integration with YouTube, Google Maps, Google Flights, and Google Hotels enables it to draw on real-time data in its responses. And users can actually share these travel-related conversations with others using the link share feature. Now, Google has assured that any personal data accessed by Bard will not be used to train its public-facing model. Now, here's a look at Bard in action. Now, what I've asked it to do was suggest the top restaurants and places to visit in Dubai. And then I asked it to plan an itinerary for a history buff in London. Now, other than the edit between the two videos and the searches that I've done, these results are being generated in real time. So I think we can all agree that the implications of Google's enhanced AI are significant. So with Bard's ability to cater to these very, very personalised searches, and by providing personalised responses which link to Gmail, Docs and Drive, and hotels can look at using this technology to offer tailor recommendations and services to their guests. So again, this comes down to identifying, segmenting and understanding who your target audiences are. So we're going to take a look now at the digital marketing mix for 2024. Okay, so social media, there's a number of shifts coming with that. I'm going to be doing another webinar shortly, either next month or in March, to go in depth onto those different strategies. In the meantime, if you do want to keep up to date with what's going on with social, please do subscribe to my newsletter, either here on LinkedIn or over on Substack, where you'll also get access to some exclusive content too. Now, TikTok is expected to continue its meteoric rise and increase its user base by 8% to 900 million users this year. Now, vertical video content, primarily through TikTok and Instagram Reels, is projected to maintain its dominance. However, don't feel that you have to stick to short-form vertical videos. Now, longer form videos on Instagram actually generate more views compared to short and medium length ones, while on TikTok, the video views remain the same regardless of the length of the video. So last year, Hilton created a 10-minute long TikTok ad, and that went viral on the channel. Now, I'm not saying that you've got to produce videos of the same length, but it is certainly wise to experiment and see what works with your audience. Now, Instagram is predicted to increase its users by 50 million in 2024 to 1.4 billion people. 62% of active users use Instagram to research products and brands, and the app is currently favouring Reels, so prioritising them in your social media strategy can substantially increase brand visibility and audience engagement. Now, many young travellers are using resources like TikTok and Instagram for travel research rather than search engines. So 40% of travellers over 30 now prefer to complete their trip research entirely on social media. Now, in 2024, the prevalence of user-generated content, which is also abbreviated as UGC, which will be created by Gen Z, is expected to surge. So brands really need to recognise the influence and significance that Gen Z has on shaping social media trends. So we all know that attracting and retaining talent in hospitality can be very challenging. So by empowering employees to advocate for your brand on social media can profoundly impact brand visibility and authenticity. And we're going to talk a little bit about this later on with my special guest, Andrey Kolchurin. So do stay tuned. One of the big things to look at this year is social commerce. Now, shopping on social media has seen a dramatic increase, with 98% of consumers planning to make at least one purchase this year, and that's compared to 68% in 2023. Now, the integration of shopping capabilities within social media platforms has contributed to this surge. And looking ahead, the upward trend in social commerce continues, with sales reaching $3.37 trillion by 2028. So that's growing at an annual rate of 28%. So Facebook is one of the key social commerce players, and 19% of consumers start their online shopping experiences there. Now, X has taken another step forward with its plan to become an everything app. It recently announced a new partnership with Shopify. Now, restaurants and hotels can use Shopify in a number of ways. You can use that to sell merchandise, cookbooks, gift cards, event tickets, classes, tastings, souvenirs. This can help provide an additional revenue stream, but it also then helps in brand promotion and customer advocacy as well. Now, TikTok recently announced ambitious plans to grow the size of its US commerce business. So let's just go back one. So TikTok has recently announced ambitious plans to grow the size of its US commerce business, and they're looking to grow that tenfold to as much as $17.5 billion this year. Now, TikTok users spent $3.8 billion in the app throughout 2023, and that's up 15% year on year. Now, TikTok is looking to extend its shopping behaviours and capabilities, and one option that it's looking at is to incorporate food delivery. Now, that's proven to be a winner in China with Douyin, which is TikTok's sister app. So it's a channel to watch closely. So again, as I say, if you subscribe to my newsletters or follow me on social, I'll keep you posted with the latest updates. So moving on to email, and email remains one of the most powerful marketing tools that hospitality has at its disposal. And it's more important than ever with the phase out of third-party cookies, which Google has already started doing. I believe that around 1% of Chrome browsers already have that phased out. But unfortunately, around 49% of email traffic was identified as spam in 2022. And it's also found that 91% of phishing attacks begin with email. So in response to this, Gmail and Yahoo have implemented stricter authentication protocols. And this is to make sure that only authentic emails actually reach users. So the updates focuses on the importance of implementing these security protocols as email authentication methods. So that's the sender policy framework, the domain keys identified mail, and the domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. So these protocols help stop email spoofing. It helps to maintain email integrity and also protect against fraud and impersonation. Now, emails that are sent to Gmail and Yahoo accounts must include mandatory unsubscribe links, and one-click unsubscribe options. So this is to ensure that recipients can easily opt out of communications if they feel that they're unnecessary. Now, Gmail and Yahoo have said that they will act against accounts that breach their spam rules, and the spam rate threshold is set at 0.3%. Now, if you exceed this, it could lead to your domain being marked as spam emails or blocked altogether. In any event, it could cause significant brand damage. So while it might be tempting to go and email your old database, just don't do it. I mean, for argument's sake, let's say you had 427 email addresses that were old and that you sent an email to. It would only take 2 people out of that 427 to complain to see your emails marked as spam, because that would then be over this threshold. And not just that, it can be very costly too. HelloFresh was recently fined £140,000 by the Information Commissioner's Office for failing to adhere to marketing privacy data rules. So one of the very exciting trends that we're going to see more of this year is mixed reality. Now, TripAdvisor is dipping its toe into mixed reality by creating virtual travel experiences at popular destinations. So these are places like Paris, Dubai, and New York. And users can explore digital twins of real places and interact with others. So this allows users to try before they buy, so to speak. Now, mixed reality can also be used to create immersive virtual tours of hotel rooms and interactive dining experiences. And basically, your objective here is to create those wow moments. I mean, remember, people buy emotionally and then they justify their decision afterwards with facts. So the bigger the wow, the bigger the potential win. So make sure that first impression matters. Now, mixed reality can also be used for staff training in simulated environments without real-world consequences. So this would be great for your front of house teams. Now, in terms of customer experience, Meta has just recently released its AI-powered smart Ray-Bans. And these glasses are there to provide meaningful assistance to wearers. They allow them to take high-quality immersive photos and videos. You can also listen to music, call and message, take interactive tours, and live stream directly to Facebook and Instagram. So the tech that I'm really interested in is Apple's new Vision Pro virtual reality headset. And this is set to revolutionize virtual travel and also how we store our memories. Now, the headset isn't cheap. It currently costs $3,499 and it allows users to relive their memories through photos and videos. Now, this is a really, really impressive piece of technology. Now, despite the virtual tours and the training applications, which are great ideas, this tech is going to capture moments in time in a way that just hasn't been done before. You'll actually be stepping into your memories. Just think about that for a moment. You pop the headset on and you're going to be in a fully immersive 360-degree snapshot of a single moment in time that you can access whenever you want. So what that's going to mean is that every step on the buyer's journey, from arrival on site to being greeted to being wished a fond farewell, can be memorialized and relived. So this means that your service is going to have to be on point every time. So the headset integrates with a number of third-party apps, and it promises a wide range of virtual travel experiences, with Apple claiming to have eliminated the problem of user motion sickness. So I'm going to take you through some of the restaurant trends that will be making an impact on marketing in 2024. And the first bit that I have to talk about is the raw and authentic content. So with consumers seeking genuine connections with brands, the value of authentic content cannot be overstated. And in 2024, people want raw content and real emotions. Now, a fantastic example I have here to share with you is from the small Enniskillen pub in Northern Ireland that captured everybody's hearts this Christmas. And this is the ad that I'm showing you now. It tells the story of a lonely widower who is, looking for companionship. And he eventually finds that in his local pub. So I'm just going to skip ahead just a little bit. But I will post the full link to this later. But I think this video just captures beautifully their audience, how they want people to feel. And as you can see, you don't actually need huge production values to do this. So, so as we get a happy ending as he's welcomed in the pub and he finds new friends. I'm not crying, you are. So, as you can see, raw content can be used to showcase the human side of your brand. So, whether it's a impromptu behind-the-scenes tour, a brief chat with chef, or a candid moment with the team, raw content can really build genuine emotional connections with your diners. So, forget about massive production values. Focus on the heart and the story. Now, an interesting development in restaurants is a significant change to the buyer journey and where reviews come into play. So traditionally, the buyer journey for a restaurant would go something like this. A friend recommends you a restaurant. You check them out on Instagram to get an idea of the food and vibe. You then go and look up their reviews on Google or Zomato or Talabat. You want to go and assess the quality, and then you'd perhaps go and make a booking or visit. But what we're now finding is that people are using reviews in the awareness stage. So platforms like Yelp, TripAdvisor, Google Reviews, and other third-party review sites are influencing consumer behavior and decision-making right at the start of the buyer journey. Now, 89% of consumers rely on online reviews before making a purchase, and that number jumps even higher in local search. So that's 97% reviews for local businesses. But 68% of people don't trust a high review rating unless there are others. And what they're looking at there is to sort of get like an idea of the averages from those reviews. So the question that you need to ask yourself is, what first impressions are your reviews and your responses making to brand new customers? So immersive experiences are here to stay. And we can see this quite clearly here in Google Trends. This is 2020, and we can see a huge interest after the pandemic in people wanting to live more. And that's not other than some seasonal fluctuations. That trend is here to stay. So for restaurants to capitalize on this, consider introducing unique limited menu items to intrigue diners, or even customer challenges, because by creating these like interactive and fun experiences, you can create memorable moments that drive engagement and, of course, generate UGC and sales. Now, a great example of this is Chipotle's partnership with the fitness app Strava. Now, according to a Chipotle internal survey, nearly 70% of the brand's consumers who are runners say that they're very likely to eat Chipotle after training for a race. So Chipotle worked with Strava to offer several customized running routes, and then they issued a customer challenge. So Chipotle customers can also enter into friendly competitions in cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Washington, among others. And each route ends at a Chipotle location. The individual in each city that completes the most routes in the year will actually receive free Chipotle lifestyle bowls for the year. So I think this is a wonderful example of a restaurant really understanding its customers, and they're tapping into their sort of customers' natural competitiveness to literally lead them to their door. Very well done, Chipotle. So we're going to look at a few digital marketing trends for hotels, then we'll go through some key takeaways and then on to my guest interview and Q&A. So one of the areas that's really going to make a difference this year is conversational commerce. Now, when it comes to messaging businesses, guests expect immediate, personalised responses, and 41% of people prefer live chat support. So conversational commerce kind of breaches these two areas. So this AI-powered technology offers real-time problem solving. It swiftly responds to any queries. It can fulfill room service requests and also pass on complex queries to a live representative. So basically, conversational commerce enables hotels to support their guests from pre-booking to post-departure. And it does this through lifelike conversations. So you can also look at how you can offer additional services and personalization options, upselling and cross-selling, but also ensuring that customer service remains personal and responsive. Now, the data that you collect from conversational commerce can also provide a wealth of information about guests' preferences, behaviours, and engagement patterns. And this information should then be used to inform your marketing strategies. Now, a word of caution, it is a well-known fact in the hotel industry that hidden fees can be a source of frustration for guests. In fact, Hyatt faced a high-profile lawsuit in August of last year due to this issue. And several governments are currently working on legislation to limit the types of fees that hotels can add to their bookings. So you must train your staff and chatbots effectively to handle conversational commerce transparently and to avoid any damaging misunderstandings. Now, customer journey campaigns work well for hospitality. 67% of consumers are projected to book their travel online this year, and the desire for personalised travel experiences has surged, and that trend is expected to continue through 2024 and beyond. So customers expect personalisation in their travel and stay experiences beyond the traditional booking process. So to meet this growing demand, your strategies must adapt to individual customer preferences and needs. So this basically allows guests then to sort of co-create their travel itinerary with you. And that's whether they're traveling for business, leisure, or they're doing both. So by mapping your customer journey, you can identify digital and physical touch points where you can gather and encourage personalization data. So for example, that might be preferred pronouns, breakfast options, level of staff engagement, like on Uber, for example, you can ask if you want a chatty driver or not. Also, things like your pillow and blanket menus, check-in options, room lighting, types of water, temperature settings, minibar selection. I could go on, but I'm conscious of the time. So I shall do a proper blog on that another day. So have a look at all these different areas that you can personalize. And then finally, for hotels, we're looking at what I'm calling room service 2.0. So because of the pandemic, people have grown accustomed to having everything delivered on demand. And this expectation also extends to hotel stays. So what guests are looking for now in room service is things like in-room spa treatments, gym equipment hire, personal shoppers, gifts and souvenirs. So think about promoting in-room wellness amenities, personalised menus and relaxation experiences in your accommodation. To get ideas of what your guests would potentially like, do use social media polls and email surveys to get feedback on ideas before you put them into practice. So again, experiment and see what works for you. So some key takeaways from this presentation. When it comes to sustainability, you've got to walk the talk. Focus on capturing first-party data so that you can develop rich customer personas. Use pop-up events to trial experiential events and see what works best for your venue. Follow Google's EAT guidelines. Use AI-generated content carefully and strategically. And remember, it cannot replace human creativity. Think outside the search box and proactively answer your customers' questions to get ahead of your competition. Shift from stories to vertical video on social and train your team in social and conversational commerce. Make sure your email database is fresh and opted in. If in doubt, order an audit from a trusted hospitality consultant or strategist. And start planning for mixed reality experiences now, because whilst that technology is currently pricey, once that goes mainstream, everybody's going to expect these experiences. So if you start thinking about that now, you're going to gain a competitive edge. I'd like to introduce, as he comes online, I'd like to introduce you to my expert guest, Andrey Kolchurin. And we're going to be discussing how some of these ideas can be put into practice. So, and Andrey's a seasoned professional in the restaurant and hospitality industry, and he's based in Central Florida. So this is really, really early for him. So I'm really happy he's joining me here today. He's got a rich career spanning over 20 years and has dedicated himself to elevating customer experience within hospitality industry. And his expertise lies in sourcing the right talent, ensuring that they thrive in the correct roles, and embedding strategies that markedly improve employee retention. So, Andrey, thank you so much for being with me today.
Appreciate the introduction. Yeah, as you mentioned, I did spend been in the industry for 20 years. A lot of those years, about 18 years, with Walt Disney Company, obviously Walt Disney World here in Florida. And last year, I've been an independent restaurant consultant with focus talent acquisition, retention, and just operational processes.
So one area that I've not covered so far is catering to guests and diners of determination. How can hospitality businesses improve accessibility for customers with disabilities?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, when it comes to customers with disability, there are a couple of things you have to think about. You're thinking about physical accommodations, right? Obviously, there are many, many laws in UK, in US. What do you have to do when it comes to walkways and automatic doors and installing lower counters at the bars and inside the rooms, providing accessible transportation, right? You have to think about all of the physical accommodations, what kind of equipment you provide. But in today's world, right, it goes into digital accessibility, talking about what do you do with your website and apps. Do you have accommodations for online reservation systems with, once again, as you mentioned, voice is on the rise, right? Voice search, voice bookings. What kind of, for me, from operational standpoint, what's really important, how do you properly train your staff, right? So you can do all the physical accommodations. You can do all the digital accommodations, but what kind of training do you provide? How do you provide an inclusive environment for your guests? How do you provide sensitivity from your staff towards your guests to ensure they feel welcome so they can create those memorable dining experiences?
Now, one of the keys to success then in hospitality is getting those brilliant staff members into your venue. What advice do you have for hospitality businesses who want to attract top talent in this industry? And what are the best channels for them to use online to find talent?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably you in UK, you see the same issues with talent in hospitality, just like we do in US. It is, our turnover rates are through the roof with so many different options now in so many different industries you can jump in, working online, things like that. Hospitality is known for not an easy industry to work, especially if you're frontline employee, where there could be long hours, right? Could be schedule not so flexible. Pay is not always as good. So we see a high turnover rate. So you really have to focus on, how do you attract that? And it's really, this topic is fairly large. You have to think about how do you present your company? First of all, what kind of culture you have, right? So to attract, you need to have a really strong employee culture where employee actually can refer, right, family and friends to bring to your company. How do you display it online, right? Are there behind scenes perhaps content, right? Again, we're talking about, as you mentioned before, raw videos, authentic videos, right? Or some kind of content. What do you do to showcase that vibrant culture? Second, you have to think about how do you target the right talent? What skills are you looking for? What personal traits you're looking for to ensure you have right talents in the right roles to avoid, again, once you have the wrong talent, your turnover just going to continue happening because they're just not the right fit.
Yeah.
And of course, that kind of comes without mentioning, but I still have to point out what's your compensation looks like. And it goes beyond just salaries. People looking beyond paychecks. They're thinking, what kind of unique perks do you have? What can you do for their schedule? Do you offer assistance with baby care, right? What's your overall compensation package looks like?
So I think it's really important that you mentioned about culture there. How can these businesses use branding in attracting and retaining talent?
Yeah, absolutely. So this goes hand in hand with employee referrals, right? When you establish strong employee brand where you showcase your culture, where you focus on diversity and inclusion, where you focus what can you do for your employees, what kind of brand you establish, people see that, right? People want to work for a company who not just give them a paycheck, but who can give them meaning and a purpose for their work. They need to work something bigger than themselves, and that's where the employee branding comes in. What do you mean? Where do you stand in the industry? What's the mission statement for you? What do you do for your customers? What do you do for your employees? So all of that ties into employee branding and how do you display it? And it obviously has to be authentic.
Now, coming back to what you were saying about authenticity and culture, what should restaurants bear in mind, and hotels as well, if they're promoting cultural food and drink? What are the sort of things to look out for or avoid?
Absolutely. It's very interesting. So, my background, I'm born and raised in Russia. I've been in the US for 20 years. And obviously, cultural experience is really important for me. It doesn't matter where I go. I want to see what the hotels and restaurants represent. So the first thing I always say is research, right? You really want to dive deep into what are you doing? Is it a cultural dish? What kind of cultural dish? What kind of ingredients you use? You need to learn a backstory of that experience or dish you're putting together to ensure you properly represent, because it's very easy to misrepresent and create that very damaging experience where it doesn't come across as authentic, or it can be even offensive, right? So you have to do your research. You have to consult with experts, right? Either it's chefs or somebody with that cultural background to, again, understand the story behind. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to tell the story, right, of that cultural dish, perhaps. So do your research, consult with the experts. There are many cultural organizations in any country where you should get involved with and build those relationships so they can assist you to better represent that particular culture. Let me think. Let's see what else. Obviously, right, you want to showcase the diverse voice and make sure if you have employees who represent those cultures, they also part of the process.
Yeah.
And be open for communication and feedback and adjust as you go forward.
Well, Andrey, thank you so much. Those insights are really helpful. So don't go anywhere. Andrey is going to be answering questions with me in the Q&A session. So please do leave a comment if you have a question. I'm just going to go through what's come through now. So add your comments and questions and I'll see what's come in so far. Okay, so one of the first questions we've got is from Mohammed Karim. Very nice to meet you, Mohammed. And Mohammed asks, what is the difference between trends and fads? Well, speaking from personal experience, a fad will usually be something that's quite short-lived. So if you think about the trend that everybody had as standing still like statues with people going around, that would be a fad. Whereas a trend is something that's actually going to impact the culture moving forwards. What would you add to that, Andrey?
Don, I think you nailed it, right? And from my perspective, obviously trend will be ongoing thing, right? Something you have to monitor. Fads, as you mentioned, short-lived, fast-going, spreading fast. Sometimes it can get tricky to identify the difference between two, and you just have to stay close to it and monitor it. Sometimes you do need to make a judgment call. Hey, and in hospitality industry, sometimes you need to experiment. And sometimes you fail, sometimes you succeed. Sometimes you do need to take the chance.
And actually, just leaping onto what you said there, that's why I'm such a big fan of pop-up events. If you've got a new concept, you've got a new idea, don't do a soft launch. Gordon Ramsay says, go do a pop-up because you'll create a buzz. If it doesn't quite work, it doesn't matter. It's one day you've got that feedback. Now, my next question is from Kevin, and he has a database. He's B2B. He's got a big database of old emails that he wants to go out to. And he said, can I, as GDPR says you can send one email to see how people are, should he send them a marketing message? So my answer would be no. No, if your email database is older than, say, 12 months, then you either need to do a warm-up campaign and re-engage those people by other means, create adverts to get new leads in, or get a sales team on the phone to these guys. Do not bulk message these people. People hate it. The filters hate it. And you'll end up with the company domain potentially being banned. So I would advise against that. So Andrey, another question for you. What are the best channels for restaurants and hotels to advertise new job? Is it still LinkedIn, or are there other platforms that people are now looking for hospitality jobs?
Absolutely. So, it's very interesting, this constantly evolving and constantly changing. So specifically in US, obviously two biggest platforms for us is Indeed, right? Is the biggest. LinkedIn shortly behind it. But what's interesting, we do have industry specialized job boards, which, I personally used, and they do not bring as good of results as Indeed and LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. But what I see around me and what I like to use myself as well is to get creative with that process. A lot of employees, right, customers and employees in general, they starting to go offline. They're starting to go into these private Facebook groups or on Reddit, right, or on Discord, because, again, privacy is such a concern, as we see, right, Google implementing it and all the way to the governments, because we see that how important privacy is. So as an employer searching for talent, we have to consider those things. And actually, it should be ongoing relationship building, right? It's not just one thing. I'm searching for, restaurant manager, find it and forget about it. You as a company should be part of that community. The keyword is, again, we need to create community around the business from employee standpoint and a customer standpoint. So get into those Facebook groups. Get into conversations, right, to ensure your name is being mentioned. Of course, in addition to searching on Indeed and LinkedIn.
That's some excellent advice. So I think we've got time for one more question in this live session. If you are watching on replay, do still leave your questions in the comments. Andrey and I will be going back in and we'll make sure that we answer you all personally. So the last question this morning is from Jesse. He says, what about for hotel loyalty programs? How can they be marketed, both B2B and B2C? So loyalty is going to be absolutely huge this year. We all know that it's a lot cheaper to retain a customer than it is to attract new ones. And loyalty programs are a great way of doing this. Now, if you're looking at B2C, then obviously you've got to understand your segments, what you're going to put together for them. So where Chipotle's done that fab challenge for runners, maybe you could have sort of like a coffee morning crochet or something, something that, your locals would really enjoy. Now, what is interesting is the concept of premium loyalty programs. So then you're actually getting literal buy-in from your customers. And the more they buy in, the more they invest with you, the longer they will stay in your loyalty program. And that's also true for B2B. With B2B as well, for your loyalty programs, look at how you can help people enjoy leisure. Perhaps you could give them an extra day's stay for them to unwind, or a +1 for a rep's other half to come with them. So there's a number of different ways that you can encourage brand loyalty. And I will be covering this on my Substack in the next few weeks. Andrey, what advice do you have?
I think you make a good point about, loyalty programs. I think what's important, first of all, you need to understand who your customer is, right? B2B, B2C doesn't really matter. You have to know your customers and what they're looking for. Really good point on B2B. What can you do to make their business trip a little bit more pleasurable, right? Give them extra day, perhaps. My biggest thing is it has to stay simple. There are so many loyalty programs, it gets extremely confusing, and they get abandoned, right, by consumer just because they don't understand how it works. Another thing I notice works really well in today's world is how do you integrate with other loyalty programs, with other companies, creating, right, that comprehensive blanket around your guests. I always say in hospitality, we put blanket around our guests. We make them feel really good and taken care of. We make them feel that they belong. We make them feel that they included and they truly enjoy themselves. So from a loyalty standpoint, how can you integrate your loyalty program, right, hotel loyalty program with airline loyalty program? I'll give you an example. Walt Disney Company, Disney has what they call Disney Vacation Club, right? It's like a timeshare, right? And you generate points and things like that. It has been part of it, but they are integrated into larger international organization where you can exchange your Disney points with Hilton or with Marriott. So instead of staying only at Disney, now your guest, your customer can stay with Hilton. Yes.
So you're not building money can't buy offers with them.
Exactly, right? So you're creating that seamless experience for the guests where it's honestly no longer, it doesn't matter, right? Where they're staying, they know they will be taken care of. So it does look like you're almost losing money, but if you look at the big picture, right, and in a long-term relationship with your customer, you need to think about it.
Well, lovely. Well, thank you so much, Andrey. It's been absolutely lovely having you on with me today. Thank you for everybody that has attended. Really appreciate you joining me this morning. I will be making the deck and video replay available to you later. And I'll also make sure you've got links to my Substack and Andrey's Substack because there's a lot more for you to learn. Thank you so much, Andrey. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Guys, have a wonderful day. And if you need a fresh pair of eyes to someone to look at your strategies and audits, drop me a message. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.